Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sweden for the 7th Annual Swordfish Championships, powered to you by GHFS and the Swedish HEMA Federation. My name is Scott Hellroth, and with me is Matt Gallas.
For those of you tuning in for the first time, what you're going to see tonight is what we call HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. Modern HEMA is the product of 3 decades of intensive research and experimentation. HEMA uses a 4-step process to bring these long-dead martial arts back to life. First of all, researchers seek out primary source material, seeking out the teachings of long-dead fencing masters and wrestling masters, usually hidden away in manuscripts and old books. Second, researchers transcribe and translate these old manuscripts and books into modern script and into modern languages, making them available to the public. Thirdly, an intensive process of interpretation and experimentation takes place in which martial artists come up with theories for the application of these techniques. And fourthly and finally, these interpretations are pressure tested in a competitive environment to see how they work in practice. This typically occurs in an environment such as sparring, free play, or in tournaments. And that's what you're going to see tonight. You're going to see fighters from around the world coming to Sweden to put their interpretations of historical European martial arts to the test, bringing them to life in the ring. Scott?
Fencers have competed in a 2-day tournament, and tonight we will crown the champions of 4 different martial disciplines: Rapier, Saber, wrestling and Longsword. This year we will also showcase exhibition bouts of other weapon styles from European martial arts. On your screen there should appear soon our schedule for the evening. Okay, I see it's not popping up. So first up tonight, we'll have 2 demonstration bouts. The first will be a Montante by Emil
Andersson. Emil Andersson comes from the Malmo Historical Fencing School, and he specializes in the use of the Montante, which is the big 2-handed sword that comes from Iberia.
Second up after that is Bryce. Crowd's getting excited. Bryce Lopez and his team from the ACTA crew in France, and they're going to have a gladiatorial exhibition.
Thank you for our lovely judges and refs, and I believe we are soon ready to send in our first demo, which will be the Montante demo.
So what we see here is Emil Andersson doing a demonstration of De Viedma's first play with the Montante. The thing about Montante is it's a large sword, big sword, much larger than the average longsword. And this particular lesson from De Viedma is a beginner's drill. He says to take the sword, use this drill, and to practice this for 8 days. That's how the beginners start. This second drill is a particular drill that talks about defending yourself from opponents in all directions. And this is also taken from De Viedma, which is from 1639. The next one he's going to show is called the Galley Gangway, and that is from Diogo Gomes de Figueiredo. And this particular technique is supposed to be used on the galley plank, the galley gangway of a big ship. where there are opponents in front and behind. And what you'll see is all the techniques are horizontal in nature. The thing about okay, so the next technique that he's going to be showing are actually a combination of two lessons from two different masters. One is from a master named Godinho from Portugal from 1599, and the other one is by Figueiredo. And the idea is this is a technique used to protect a dignitary from attack. So he's a bodyguard, and he's protecting his charge from attackers in all direction. In Figueiredo's version, this is called guarda-capa. This is one of the hallmarks of the Montante, is that you can see a few of the things. Number one, it's multi-directional in nature. Number two, it's tailored for precise tactical situations like this. There are other techniques that are used for a narrow alleyway or for a broad street or for the galley plank of or the gangplank of a galley.
That was an excellent display of swordsmanship. Alas, the fun is not over yet. We have a great pleasure to be presenting a gladiator demo, and I will be handing over the
So
mic.
the next up is going to be the
Please,
Bryce Lopez and his team from Acta, France. We don't know quite what to expect here, but look for
so it looks like
some very exciting and high intensity fencing.
so the gladiator.
English not very well. I try to explain the gladiators' fights was during 100 years in the antiquity in 5 minutes. Very hard. The most important is gladiators' fights. It's a sport. In the antiquity, it's a sport. It's not like Gladiator, the film, the movie. It's a sport. The gladiators don't have to kill each other. They need to make the most beautiful show. In Latin, the place where the gladiators fight, it's spectacular show. Spectacular in Latin, it's the same as like to see. Spectacular. The gladiators fighters in the antiquity are on the same school, and they fight to win, not to kill the adversary, to win, and to win what? Your art. It's important for us to win your art.
Bryce Lopez explaining the demonstration. I hope you can hear him from his microphone at home.
It's not enough. Are you
And
ready?
the two gladiators who we're about to see is the Thrax with the curved sword and the red shield, and the other one I believe is called Hoplomachus.
To present you two of my French students on the Federation of HEMA in France. We have met Ludus, a school of gladiators, and this guy, Yanni, are training since 1 year. It's the first fight for us in front of such public. You are great, you are fighters, and they are afraid. There are two, in Latin, armatura, two types of weapons, very particular. Here, proclivité,
So this is the Hoplomachos with a round shield and a short, straight gladius.
And protection on arm and little pugil.
His arm is covered by what's called a manica, leather
the
armor,
helmet
articulated,
is 8
very
kg.
flexible.
Yes, it's a true one. It's a copy of true one.
His head is covered completely in a bronze helmet. He's got his hemispherical shield. He has leg guards, so it's very interesting because if you take a look at the what's actually exposed, it's only the very deep target. The only area you can really hurt this guy is on his torso and on his upper legs. So it's a very deep, very close fight with a very short weapon. His opponent is the Thrax, who has the same armor but a curved sword. The Thrax takes his name from the Thracian fighters of what is now modern Bulgaria.
I don't know English. Okay, you see? And it's very important.
So you can see that curved weapon there.
Curved.
The Sika is the name of that weapon,
Antiquity, double.
which more or less translates as sickle. It's a sickle-shaped sword, also very short.
They don't kill. They don't. They don't do with the punch. They do only shot. This.
So
They don't.
Bryce Lopez explaining that with the Sika, you're essentially doing slicing cuts.
Eventually, but not kill him. At the end of the fight, one guy, you can't fight anymore, put the knee down, and do this movement. This movement is the symbol of the death. I lose, and I want.
Bryce Lopez showing the gesture of the defeated.
Not the death, but I do the movement. This one doesn't exist. It's just for the movies. Okay. This is the movement for the death. The sun is the symbol of the weapon and for the life. We do like this. The weapon between the game. In Latin it's pugio and vagina. The life. The death. The life. And also we can see on the pictures, anti-pictures, you can see the equality like this. In Latin, stantes misero. Thank you very much. Now we do a little fight. I do the referee because it's a sport and in the antiquity they are a referee.
The explanation is over. Now Bryce Lopez saying that he will act as the referee in this fight between the Hoplomachos on the right and the Thrax on the left. What you'll see is them getting very close. This is not like fencing with a longsword where you're fencing at range. This is a very close, intimate game.
To clarify, this is not part of the tournament. This is a demonstration bout, and it will be refed and judged, though, by Bryce Lopez.
They are so covered up. The only target, the only way to get to that target is by moving in and ideally getting around to the side to get an angle so you can get around that shield and get at that deep target, whether it be the thigh or the torso or the back. You know, especially see with the Sika that he'll try and get in there and reach around and actually do these raking cuts, drawing cuts with the Sika across the back of the leg, back of the knee. A lot of shield strikes integrated into this. You'll probably see some kicks, I would expect. Perhaps even a little bit of grappling.
And a lot of clinch work with the shield, using the shield to apply pressure to the opponent.
Absolutely, hooking the other guys. Yeah, here you see, trying to hook around with that Sika. And what you'll see is like like you just said, Scott, they'll use that shield, especially the Thrax. He's got that nice angle on the corner of that shield that he can use to reach around, hook the round shield of the Hoplomachus and pull it open, creating an opening. You see,
Strike the abdomen.
Reaching in underneath. So the straight line here is almost entirely blocked off. It's a game of angles. It's a game of hooking cuts, reaching around. Very physical game too. The fact that they're in such close distance means that there is a lot of body-to-body contact, a lot of shoving.
You see the heavy breathing after only such a short round. Much like wrestling, it's a very energy-consuming tradition.
Now, what's interesting, these bronze helmets are absolutely beautiful, but in the ring, in the Colosseum, they would be adorned with feathers and all kinds of plumes to make even more of a spectacle. And you see the Hoplomachus reaching around, stabbing into the back, a hooking thrust.
Bryce, strict but fair to his students.
And his commands, I believe, are in Latin.
Loss of weapon.
So
Bryce.
this is the token, the gesture of defeat from the Hoplomachus, the Thrax raising his Sika in victory. And the audience gives the Hoplomachus his life. You can't see it, but the audience is doing a wave. Sort of.
Great display by the actor group. We had problems with our graphics before. Hopefully we'll get a view over our tournament bouts. You've just witnessed the demo bouts. Now we're going to see the tournaments. First up will be Rapier of the evening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you feeling warmed up? I can't hear you. Okay, calm down. Excellent. Right, our first fight of this evening is going to be a fight for third and fourth place in Rapier and Dagger. Are you excited? All right, I am awaiting clear signals from my favorite gentleman over at Livestream. They are talking to...
Okay, we skipped the graphics. We're going to go straight to the first fight of the evening. Will be third place for Rapier. I will be fought between Rob Runnicus there seems to be a delay with our Rapier fighters.
There are two things you need to know about the Rapier rules. First of all is they use weighted scoring. A thrust to the head or to the body is worth 3 points. A cut to the head is worth 3 points. A cut to any other part of the body other than the head is worth 1 point. A thrust to any other part of the body, any other limb, arm or leg, is only 1 point. The other thing to understand is that the afterblow and doubles both count, and they are both scored.
Bouts will be fought in 2 rounds for a period of 3 minutes per round. The fighter with the highest score at the end of the bout will be the winner. Entering the arena, Rapier in red and Rob Ronicus in blue.
Christian is better known as a longsword fencer. He's a well-known participant here from Helsinki, Finland. Rob from the UK is a well-known rapier fencer and also a researcher. Rob Runnekers has really sort of distinguished himself recently. He's one of these guys who does it all. He's a fencer, he's a first-rate fencer, a teacher, but he's also a researcher, recently coming out with translation of Dancy's Rapier Manual from 1623, the Épée de Combat, Sword of Combat.
Fought Hans Jarland in the semi-finals for a place in the finals, was knocked out in an excellent fight.
And the fight begins.
Early strike by Runicus in blue. From Renaissance Sword Club, United Kingdom.
So each one of them scored with a thrust. The aggregate is 0. So each one scored 3 points. They score the aggregate of the two, which results in a score of 0.
Strike to the abdomen by Runicus. Scores 3 points.
This is one of the interesting things we've seen. The quality of the fencing has been quite good from what I've seen over the course of the past few days. And
strike to the chest by Runicus, which should put him up to 6-0 against Raukkonen.
But what we're seeing is much more time spent in the initial phase, where the fencers are circling, taking a lot more time, it seems, in every weapon to feel out the opponent. Maybe it's an effect of these new rules, perhaps.
Fighting Hans Jarland in the semi-finals, there was, in a bout of 3 minutes, there was only 3 exchanges. The first exchange was a 1 minute out of distance in Sufechten. Really nice play. Raukkonen bringing it back 3-6. Raukkonen from Finland in red.
So Rob changing his lead from time to time.
Exchange. Three points each, which effectively is a double hit.
Each nullifying the other. But again, it's possible to have a double hit or a double score where one person gets 3 from a thrust and the other gets 1 from either a cut or a thrust to a less important part of the body.
Time has been called for the first round.
Right.
Roukonen ending the round with a 6-6 equal.
So I've had a fair number of discussions on the sidelines, both with judges, coaches, and fighters, and the reaction to these new rules seems to be pretty good. The judges in particular are very happy and believe that the quality of the judging has gone up. I hear the same thing from the fighters because the fact of counting both the after blow and the double avoids some of the fine distinctions that have to be made between the two. Makes an easier job, results in probably fewer judging mistakes. The fighters are taking a little bit of time to adapt, though. But overall, the feedback is positive.
Round 2.
So Christian changing his tactics, changing to a left lead with a high guard with his hand up by his head, preparing an imbricata perhaps, or at least threatening one. Oh, beautiful thrust to the face
by Roukonen.
right between the sword and dagger of Runekers. Lovely thrust. Yep, 3 points unanswered. That changed the fight.
Thrust by Runekers.
Looks like
Where did
perhaps
it
it was
land?
to the leg. Looks like it was a thrust to the leg. Looks like. Yeah.
It's awarded 3
Oh.
points, so the judges saw this to the body.
Right, okay. Yeah, this is the interesting thing about weighted scoring, is in a heartbeat, you can lose your lead. Oh, beautiful thrust to the face. By Runekers. Another point for red. Very close fight so far. It'll be interesting to see if Christian changes his tactics.
Thrust by Roukonen, answered by Runekers. Three points each, so no score given. Both nullifying each other. Strike to the head by Roukonen.
Yeah,
Sorry,
interesting.
thrust to the head by Roukonen.
Three points red, 1 point blue. Is an interesting use of what's called an appel by Christian. That's where you stamp your foot to distract your opponent as the beginning of a feint. And that was an effective way of setting up that thrust to the face.
Time.
Time has been called.
But it's a tie, so it looks like it will
We'll go to sudden death. Rob Runekers from the United Kingdom in blue. Christian Roukonen from Finland in red.
Christian in a low guard. Changing his tactics. See, he likes to use that appel, the foot stamp, as
A way to
testing
provoke the opponent.
Exactly. Right now he's using it in the out of measure to sort of provoke and test his opponent, see what his reactions are. Before, he did a very nice job of using it to set up an attack. A foot feint, if you will.
So what he wants to find out what is his opponent's initial, his automatic reaction. Both fighters taking their time, looking for openings, trying to decipher each other in the footwork. Oh. Strike by Ronikus, thrust rather. So it looks like Roukonen was awarded 3 points. Rob Roniker, he's using his right to protest a judge's decision.
Yeah, this is an interesting feature that they've added to the rules, the right to make one protest. If your protest succeeds, you keep your protest and you can use it again. Once you've used your protest and not won, then you've lost it for good.
So the ref has called the judges into the center of the ring, they re-evaluate, and then they come to a decision.
And their decision is final.
So Roniker's protest was approved, which leads us still to 13-13. Sudden death continues.
This also means that Rob retains his protest under these rules, since he won it. Looked like a thrust and a cut by Roukonen. And clearly the judges saw something I didn't.
3 points for Ronikus. Winner, Rob Ronikus, who takes third place in Rapier tournament.
In sudden death.
See there, Ronikus leaving the arena. Okay, so the next fight will...
So now we have one of our sponsors, the HEMA shop from the UK, run by Brian Tunstall and his cohorts. They provide a wide array of HEMA gear, ranging from the well-known Rawlings line of swords, synthetic swords, nylons, to quite a few other items as well.
Next fight up will be last year's longsword champion, Hans Jarlin, who really is a rapier fencer in the... He's both a longsword fencer and a rapier fencer. He hasn't competed in longsword for many years, until last year, which he won the Open Longsword Championship of Swordfish 2013. This year, he's in the finals for Rapier.
Yeah, I have to say that's an interesting thing that I've noticed in Sweden that I don't seem to see anywhere else so much, is that your longsword fencers also have a tendency to do rapier. And while that may seem a little strange, if you take a look at the guild practice in France, but particularly in Belgium and the Netherlands, that combination, the weapon combinations that they typically competed in, were the longsword, the rapier, and the rapier and dagger. So there is sort of a historical precedent for sort of, you know, putting that trio of weapons together. Frankly, from my point of view, I think HEMA longsword would benefit a lot if more of our longsword fencers would cross-train in rapier.
Hans Jörlen will be facing Piermarco Terminiello of the United Kingdom. Piermarco, he dethroned last year 2012 and 2013's champion Francesco Loda.
Yeah, Francesco Loda put on a beautiful display of fencing last year. So it was interesting to see that Pim was able to unseat him from his throne. And we'll see how Pim does tonight. So that's Pim Terminiello
First place, Rapier and Dagger.
from London, UK.
At Swordfish 2014. In the red corner, we have Piermarco, Pim Terminiello.
From School of the Sword. Pim is a well-known figure here at Swordfish. Very good track record of winning tournaments.
Also came third place last year in the Rapier tournament, fighting Rob Reinecke.
And Hans Jörlen of Sweden. Alteher.
From Gamla Stans Fäktskola in Stockholm. Both fighters embrace each other. Again, this will be a 2-round bout, 3 minutes per round.
30-second break in the middle.
First fighter to score the highest, the fighter with the highest score at the end of the bout will be the winner. So there's no upper limit to score, to how many points you can score in Rapier.
Again, thrust to the face or torso is 3 points. A cut to the head is 3 points. Everything else is 1 point. Pim circling clockwise.
Pim changing guards to see if Hans would react to his changes.
Pim is an
staying.
interesting fighter. He really has quite a bag of tricks, and he's one of these people who manages to change up his style a lot, even over the course of one fight, just based upon his opponent.
He really is a scholar and a fighter in that true sense. He has this ability. He knows how to win. He knows when he needs to add a pressure. He knows when he needs to up his game.
Yeah, he is the Rapier's equivalent of Dennis Ljungqvist, who is the same way with the longsword. Again, this is what we're seeing, this lot of time on the edge of measure.
And in this,
which is the way it ought to be, frankly, with Rapier. Certainly in Capoferro and Fabrice, they talk about waiting for that tempo.
a thrust and a counter. There's a hit to the leg by Jörlen. And thrust to the body by Terminiello.
So the effect of these rules is to make Rapier a lot more thrusty. There was a real criticism over the past few years that Rapier had begun to look like Saber, with a lot of focus on cutting. And by the use of weighted scoring in particular, that's really changed the game into much more what it should be, a thrust-oriented fight.
There's a lot going on in the minds of both
Yes.
fencers right now. They're not just standing there, they're really testing every millimeter of movement.
Looked like that was a thrust and a head cut, I believe.
Thrust by Terminiello, cut by Jolin to the head.
And the end result, 3 points each, and the aggregate being 0.
Time has been called for the first bout, for the first round. Pierre Marco with a slight lead with 6 points to 4. All Hans need is a thrust to the head of the body, and he's ahead of the game.
But again, with this weighted scoring, that can turn around in a heartbeat. That's a nice thing about this rule set. It really forces you to pay attention. You know, just the fact that you have a 3-point lead, that can disappear in an instant.
Crowd waiting in anticipation.
So, and one thing to remember if you have not, it is not registered, is Pim is a left-hander. And so what you'll see him sort of circle around.
Round 2.
He likes to circle around to the outside line.
Thrust by Erling to the abdomen,
Cut
strike
by
Terminiello to the arm, it looked like. Judges saw differently, awarded 3 points to Terminiello. Thrust to a thrust.
And it looked to me like both of those missed their target. They saw it differently, clearly.
Less filling out in this round. They've studied each other's patterns, and the intensity is rising.
It's interesting to see the use of space here. Oh,
Yeah.
looks like a cut to
Exchange.
the leg.
One point each awarded, nullifying each other.
Jernlund seems to have this tendency to back Pim into a corner.
Thrust by Erling, counter by Terminiello. Parry and counter. Terminiello awarded 3 points with a strong lead to Jörlin with 1 minute left in the fight.
Yeah, this is, I won't say insurmountable, because with this rule set, things can change, but that's going to be pretty hard.
Thrust by Jörlin, parry by Terminiello. 3 points to blue, 1 point to red. Jörling adding the pressure, strike by Jörling to the head. One point awarded. You talked about insurmountable. He needs 2 head strikes and 1 exchange. In the next 2 exchanges. 5 seconds left of the fight. Time has been called, and we have a Rapier champion, ladies and gentlemen. Pierre Marco Terminiello from the School of the Sword, England. beats Hans Sjölin of Gamla Stars Fäktskola, Sweden. Ladies and gentlemen, our champion, Piermarco Terminiello.
You know, and I have to say, this is something I like to see. If you take a look at, certainly for our first and our third place winner, both of them placing in this tournament, but also both of them researchers, both of them published. Nice to see. These are guys who do it all. Scholars and fighters, both.
Okay.
So, for our next sponsor, it's La Holo Ancient Line, makers of a new brand of fencing mats, specifically designed for HEMA. What's interesting about this, about their new design, is that it has some inflatable pads on the inside that are designed to, you know, create sort of a cushion around the head and create greater protection.
Congratulations, Pim.
Thank you very much.
So, I'd like to tell us your name, your club, and which country you're from.
My name's Piermarco Terminiello. I'm from the School of the Sword in the UK.
Are you happy with your fight today?
Yeah, obviously I'm delighted to win, and I really enjoyed the fight. I've got the utmost respect for Hans as a fighter. As you know, he won the Open Longsword last year, but perhaps, you know, it's less well known. For a long time he's been an accomplished rapierist, and when I started in HEMA, he was one of the guys I looked up to, so it's a real honour for me to fight him in the final here at Swordfish.
Excellent, excellent. Is this the only weapon that you train, and what are your main historical sources that you base your training on?
I'll answer the first question. I primarily train rapier alone and rapier and dagger, also some sword and buckler, but lately in this past year I've been, you know, playing about with all sorts like saber, dusak, dagger, a bit of longsword, everything, and I think that's helped my general game and just enjoying my fencing and having fun. Second question was, sorry.
What are the main historical sources you base your fencing on?
Sort of early 17th century Italian sources, really. There's a few Giganti, Palladini, Fabris, and a few minor sources mixed in for tactical notes and what have you. So.
And how has your Swordfish experience been?
Yeah, obviously I'm delighted to win. Overall, it's been a great event. Throughout the pools, I think this of the 3 years I've been, this is the best run, the cleanest fighting throughout all the weapons. So, yeah, really positive.
All right, thank you, Tim. Congratulations again.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, our next sponsor, Sparring Gloves from Poland. These are well known. I think if you look at most of the fencers here, they seem to be wearing these gloves. They're a really fascinating design, combining extreme protection with fantastic mobility of the wrist.
We had a scheduled interview with Rob Ranikus, if you bear with us. They will appear on screen momentarily. Next fight up will be wrestling lightweight. More about that later.
Hello, Rob. Can you tell us something about your fighting tonight?
It was a little bit tough tonight for me. Actually, it probably wasn't as relaxed as I'd like to be, so I wasn't flowing as well. So I was kind of a little bit too tense, but it paid off in the end.
Excellent. You have been working as a manager for the Swordfish tournaments, running a crew with a lot of people from different nations. Can you tell us about the work that goes into organizing a HEMA tournament of this scope?
Well, there's a huge amount of coordination, of course, with various people across various nations. What we had to do was sort out the pools from about 3 months ago, just trying to get the scheduling right, ensuring that we had enough personnel as well to cover that. it's one of the big things is to ensure that we get enough judges and judges the quality that an organisation like Swordfish demands.
You also done a lot of research, primarily with rapier sources. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, a lot of the work I work on is transitional rapier between the side sword, the more cutty stuff, towards what we more recognise as rapier. I work predominantly on derived stuff from the Italian in France, things like François Dancy, done a translation of that. Some of the stuff that Villemont has done. So we're talking about the time actually of the Three Musketeers. It's very much of that period, very much classic.
Excellent, it sounds very exciting. It seems that you are involved in all aspects of HEMA, fighting, competing, researching, running a club and organising events. What is it that makes you continue to be involved on so many levels?
People, basically. HEMA is just wonderful for people, and there's just a lot of joy in that. And there is something about sword fighting, sort of cool, and there is a joy when you are having a spar, when you're exchanging with someone, having a conversation with someone with that, which just spurs on everything else. And so anything else you can do for that to support your love and the love of others is just wonderful.
Excellent, thank you very much, Rob Runnakers. And now over to the Livestream again.
Okay, so next fights up will be lightweight wrestling. Lightweight fighters are up to 70 kilos. We have 3 categories this year, and it's lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight. This will be a one fight for the first place. It's a fight for 3 rounds of 2 minutes each, and victory can be achieved by scoring 6 points to the opponent by having the most points after 2 minutes, at which point the round ends.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't speak Swedish, please appreciate our accessibly handsome
Scoring in wrestling
sweepers.
goes as follows. 3 points will be awarded for standing up with some part of the opponent's upper body on the ground. 2 points will be awarded to rises to a standing position from having had the upper body on the ground with the opponent's upper body still on the ground. 1 point will be awarded with controlled holds. The opponent's torso continuously on the ground during the referee's count to 10. Should the hold be broken before the count is out, the referee will reset the wrestlers to a standing position and continue the match.
Now, just to talk a little bit about forbidden techniques and fouls, just to make it simple and clear, the referee has the power to rule conduct unsportsmanlike and penalize it, even if there's no clear rule against it, in case of a particularly imaginative foul. He also has discretion over the penalty for fouls, although they should be proportional to both the severity and intent of the foul and whether any warning has already been given. So again, this is wrestling only. There's no kicking, punching, or other forms of strikings are allowed.
Some problems with the graphics there. Drums are rolling. Fighters will enter the arena. You see in screen Mikkel Vigren from Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. Also one of our referees during Swordfish, has done an excellent job refereeing. Trained Saber, senior Saber instructor, and also MMA practitioner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the contenders for the first place in the lightweight wrestling at Swordfish 2014. We have Mikkel Vigren.
Last year's winner of the lightweight championships, where he beat.
And in the other corner, we have Thomas Lobo.
So Thomas Lobo on the other side from France, from Stade Clermontois Amhe. That's Arts Martiaux Historiques Européennes. So France and Sweden meeting on the mat.
So again, this will be fought for 3 rounds, 2 minutes each, or the first to score 6 points. Clinch. Lobo attempting a single leg. Vidgren pinning Lobo. Vidgren with the back. Vidgren slices, leaving Lobo on the ground. Which should award him 3 points. 3 points to Vidgren. Clinch. Both fighters tugging. Head to head. Single leg by Mikkel Vidgren. Trying to break through. And he strikes us again. Leaving Lobo on the floor, on the ground. Awarded 3 more points, which should win him the round, even if 2 minutes hasn't passed. So that was 6 points for Vidgren, winning the first round. Okay, so there's no rest between rounds. They're just going straight for it. New round. Clinch. Lobo going for Vidgren's inside of his leg. Tugging. In a neutral position. Okay, so he called outside of the mat. So the actual ring, the round red ring you see is the ring they're allowed to move around, not the actual, the whole arena. Lobo grabbing the leg, Mikke on top. Try for hip throw by Lobo. He didn't pull it off. Vidgren stood fast. Still attempting it. Try by hook. Going for Vidgren's neck. He's going to try and throw him. Vidgren pulls back. But Lobo on top, pinning Vidgren, who needs a 10-second count. 4. Vidgren ropes round. Ref calls break. And he puts him back into the fight. No score given. "20 seconds to the second round. No score given. Vidgren winner of the first round. It's a nice attempt by Lobo, didn't pull it off.
Time.
Time was called. Second round, a draw. So Lobo needs to pull this third round off to get a sudden death. Fight to shake hands. Breathing heavily. Clinch. Lobo trying to trip Vigren, but Vigren circling and countering the attempt. Both fighters in a neutral position here in the clinch. Vigren trying to take the back of Lobo. Grabbing the shorts of Vigren. Lobo giving it all now, pulling, tugging. Vigren relentless, hit to the ground. Ref tells him to keep going, no score given. Lobo needs to win this round if he's to continue to sudden death. Now you see him adding the pressure. Vigren standing fast though. Attempt of a trip. Stuffed by Vigren. A lot of clinch work in this fight. It's exasperating clinching like this.
And exhausting.
Time was called, so that was Vigren winner of the first round. Both second round was a draw, third round also a draw. Referee announces the winner.
The winner of this year's lightweight wrestling with 6-0 is Michael Vigren.
Michael Vigren retains his championship, retains his title. 2-year consecutive winner of the lightweight championship from Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. Congratulations to Mika. And a nice fight. It was a dominant first round by Michael Vigren. Lobo countering in the second and third round in what was a very even fight. Both fighters cancelling each other, staying long exchanges in the clinch. They'll sleep tight tonight. They'll sleep well tonight.
So, our sponsors. The next one is Spes, maker of a broad variety of HEMA equipment, including the well-known Axel Peterson fencing jacket from Poland.
Very important. Roa back, sluta prata. Okay, this is important. Robin, you're still talking. Wilkins, stop talking to Robin.
Coming up shortly, our finals in Saber.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about those rules. Now, with regards to both Saber and Longsword, they both use weighted scoring. And the weighting is as follows. For a cut to the head is 2 points. A thrust to the head or to the torso is 2 points. And any other cut or thrust to other areas is 1 point. Just as we said before, after blows and doubles are both counted, and they are both scored, and a big departure. No distinction between the two. Feedback has been uniformly positive from the judges for ease of judging, has been either neutral or positive from the fighters.
And also, especially now that we have 4 judges, it is even more important that you comply with this rule. And this is to make it better for the fighters. I'm sure they will not be thanking
Our
you.
hostess, Julia Ström, informing our crowd.
And Ties Kool from the Netherlands, from Amek, on screen right now.
Will be facing Pier Marco Terminiello, who you just saw win the Rapier final. He'll be fighting for 3rd place. This will be a 2-round fight of 3 minutes per round.
So So if I recall correctly, Tees Cool was one of the winners of the technical award last year here at Swordfish, in particular because of his excellent skills with Saber.
In the red corner, we have Pierre-Marco
Tamaniello, who you just saw win the Rapier finals in the red corner, School of the Sword. His opponent,
Tees Cool from
Tees Cool.
Amek in the Netherlands. He's one of the proteges of Mikhail Lopez Cardozo. It's funny, there are certain schools that seem to produce winners, and Amek is one of those. Tees is a fantastic all-around fighter, wrestler. Longsword and Saber, equally skilled with both.
it's also a school that produces fighters on a consistent pace. Every year they come with new talent.
All right, so remember, Pim, again, fighting left-handed. That always is a little bit of a challenge.
Strike to the torso by Cool, answered by strike to the head by Pierre-Marco. Scored a point each.
The aggregate being 0.
Tees trying to provoke Pierre-Marco. Strike and a thrust.
Close thrust. Narrowly averted. This is the interesting thing about Pim, is he has a lot of thrusting skills that a lot of people don't use in Saber. Certainly there's nothing to prevent you from thrusting in Saber, but it tends to be obviously very cutty.
Strike to the leg by Pim. Answered by Cool. And it should be
Yeah, this is one of these things about these new rules. You have to be very careful about going for that leg unless you're sure of protecting your head. Pim made a bad trade there. Got a nice leg cut.
power by Cool. Strike to the chest. Awarding him a point. Loss of sword. Strike by Pim to the arm of Cool. Earning him a point. Mattis Cool in blue. Pierre-Marco in red. Pierre-Marco in a hanging position.
For our viewers from the United States, orange is the favorite color of the Netherlands. So whenever you see someone in orange, they're typically from the Netherlands.
Exchange, thrust, strike to the body by Cool, answered by strike to the head by Pierre-Marco. Both fighters at 2 points each, with 5 seconds left in the first round. Strike! See if time was called
Looked
before
like
point.
a cut to the leg and an after blow from Tees to the chest, perhaps, or maybe the head, hard to say.
2 points awarded to Tees, 1 to Pierre-Marco,
The differential
putting
is
Tees
2.
Cool in a 1 point lead at the end of the first round. With now a 1 minute break.
Yeah, it is very interesting with this rule set. You see people being punished for going for the leg if they don't know how to do it. On the other hand, both in Saber and Longsword, you see people now who are really starting to get to where they can do a nice head feint, go for the leg, and then get up in time for that parry. When that happens, it's beautiful, and you're seeing it more and more. But Pim has come out on the downside of a couple of those exchanges, going for the leg without being able to parry that big after blow coming from Tees. So the break is over, the fighting resumes. Tees in an outside guard.
Strike to the arm by Cool, giving him 1 point.
The lead is increasing.
Marco trying to provoke Tees.
Tees is fencing from either an outside guard or a middle guard. Pim from an inside guard or a middle guard most of the time.
Attempted thrust by Marco, answered by Cool, which gives him 2 points and a strong lead. 2 minutes left in the second round. Strike to the leg by Marco, as you said, Matt, before. Going for that low, for that low opening and being countered to the head.
That is not a tactic that is working for Pim. Usually, this is unusual with Pim. Pim normally does not make the same mistake over and over again.
Ah! Thrust for a thrust. Two points each, essentially a double hit. As we said before, Marco knows how to win, and he knows when he needs to change his game, when he needs to apply pressure. On the other hand, Tees Cool is an excellent swordsman, excellent with the saber. No score given. Strike by Pim.
Parry.
Thrust. Strike to the head. One point for red. Thrust by Pim. Awarding him 2 points. He can change this. He can turn this round now. This is 7-5. Tees Cool, however, earning 2 more points, putting him up 9-5. 10 seconds left in the last round. Cool calling for time. We have a blade issue, bent blade. And that's how you fix a bent blade. So essentially, Marco has a 3-second gap to score 3 points. Time has been called. We have a winner. Tees Cool from the Netherlands in blue.
Mr. Cool wins yet again.
Senior instructor at AMIC.
He's got a nice list of tournament victories to his name. More and more coming in Saber.
Also an excellent tournament organizer who helped organize and manage the Swordfish tournaments this year.
Actually, he's one of the most experienced tournament managers out there, frankly. So our next sponsor is PBT Historical Fencing from Hungary. Again, makers of a wide range of HEMA equipment, in particular masks, back of head protectors, gloves, and jackets. So now on to our first place.
We have a delay for a sword check.
So I believe these sabers they're using are the Easton sabers, if I'm not mistaken. They are sabers that were developed with the input from Matt Easton, well known for his expertise in that area and also in his large collection of originals.
Which we apologize for. I also apologize for interrupting our beautiful drummer, who is also the chairman of GHFS.
Our hostess, Julia Strom, addressing the crowd. And our proud drummer, there in view.
Yes, we have a lot of talents. And I do apologize for the delay. In the meantime, I'd like to introduce my ref and my judges. Our wonderful ref for this evening is Christine Konsmo.
Christine Konsmo was the first woman to win an open tournament in HEMA, winning a sword and buckler tournament a few years ago here at Swordfish.
American but lives in Norway.
Someone else from GHFS. So we have Jenny Ann Pettersson.
Jenny Ann Pettersson, one of our judges, you can't see her on screen now, of Sweden.
A fighter and an experienced judge.
Full of other resources. So we brought in Magnus Lundborg.
Magnus Lundborg of Uppsala, Sweden.
But as you all know, HEMA in Sweden, it's still a small place. So we brought in Rob Ronikers.
Rob Ronikers, now having taken off his fencing kit, now acting as a judge. He's one of those indispensable people for running tournaments.
About 30 years. But, you know, why not go big? Why not go fast? We have the lovely Jessica Finley.
Also, Jess Finley from the United States, well known for Longsword and in particular medieval wrestling, just published a book on that.
Fighter, ref and judge throughout this tournament. Did not make it to the finals this year.
Sacrificing their opportunity to compete, their opportunity to go to workshops, or even sleep in many instances.
So again, the finals will be fought for the
To you when I love you so
2 rounds, 3 minutes per round with an interval of 1 minute.
I am actually going to be quiet for a bit. I'm going to double check on the lag, and hopefully once I return, we will have one excessively exciting bout to happen. All right? In the meantime, please do admire Rob's behind. He's been talking about it all weekend. So by magic, Rob Ronikers behind seems to have done the thing. And we are now
So,
ready.
while we're waiting, one of the interesting things about military saber is it's interesting how it has really sort of picked up, Scott, over the past few years. Just really over the past 3 years or so, it's become extremely popular.
Enter our champion
thing about it is there are sources from almost every single, no, not almost, every single country in Europe.
End screen, Dennis Ljungqvist from Sweden. His opponent.
This is a first.
All the way from Russia, we have Mr. Voletkov.
Yevgeny Voletkov from Russia. This is the first time that a Russian has made it into the finals in Swordfish.
Yeah, and a very, very talked about fighter. There's a lot of hype coming into him. He had a great performance yesterday in the Saber
We
tournament.
have Dennis Ljungqvist.
Dennis Ljungqvist from Kungshamns Historiska Fäktskola. The winner of Swordfish 2009 and 2012. Open Longsword Championships, also a great rapier fighter. Dennis is one of those fighters that transcends over odds. He fights in several disciplines successfully.
His nickname is Dennis the Menace, and he earns it. You know, he can take up any weapon and seems to win with it. There are some people who are all-around fighters. Dennis is one of them. Dennis fighting from a hanging guard. A Russian fighting from a medium guard. Kind of a bouncy style, very interesting to see.
Thrust by Voletkov, answered by a cut from Dennis.
Yeah, thrust to the torso, cut to the face. That end result is 0 points for both.
Wow. Speed behind the Russian. Two points each.
It looks like Dennis is letting him get in on his measure, though.
Strike and a parry. Voletkov elevating from the ground. And a strike that earns him 2 points. 2-1, which puts him 1 point ahead.
It's a cut, a parry, and a riposte to the chest by Voletkov. Right, and an afterblow, I believe, from Ljungqvist.
Exchange. Judges call 1 point Voletkov, putting him in the lead against Dennis Ljungqvist in blue. Voletkov in red from Russia. Thrust to a thrust. 2 points each, leading to no points. Essentially a double hit.
Seconds.
10 seconds left of the first round. A slight lead for the Russian. So close to exiting the match. Out of bounds. But was time called? One point blue for Dennis Ljungqvist. I don't know if you saw that at home, but Voletkov went out of bounds, stepping outside of the ring, earning Dennis a score of 1 point.
Right, he exited the ring, actually the square, the mat, with both feet.
Which scores us dominance. 1 point by dominance.
now the break for 30 seconds.
Ljungqvist in screen. And back at it, second round, the Saber Championship 2014. Powered to you by Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. Strike to the head by Voledkov. Dennis Ljungqvist answering with a strike to the body. Earning Voledkov a 1 point lead. Exchange.
Looked like a cut by Voledkov and an afterblow by Ljungqvist.
So Voledkov with a 2 point lead with 2 minutes left in the second round. Judges called point. It looked like a thrust to the body by Ljungqvist, or attempt, and we have an objection from the coach of Voledkov. So questioning that last call. Which is this right? So you see the ref, she calls in the judges, and they will confer and come to a verdict.
And again, if Voledkov prevails in his protest, he doesn't lose it. And he can make another protest later on. But if he does not prevail, then he loses it for good.
So the score you see there is the score given. So it's the score given from the last exchange, putting Dennis at 4-4. So those last 2 points earned by Dennis is now in question by the Russian coach. Judges have reached the verdict. Oh, it's unclear of the verdict there, but it seems that it was overruled.
The score remains the same.
The score remains the same.
That means
strike to the head by Voledkov. A low afterblow by Dennis, earning the Russian 1 point.
it's interesting. The Russian seems to have this interesting sort of swirly cut 5 to the left side of the head, or even maybe a cut 3, and he seems to be landing this a fair amount on Dennis's head. But the problem is my feeling is he's probably not used to fencing with the afterblow.
Yeah. But he's getting the better of these exchanges because he's striking Dennis to the head, and
Right.
Dennis is striking him to the lower body, so it's giving him a 1 point lead every exchange.
Yeah, it's that cut 5 or cut 3 that he's making that Dennis seems to have trouble parrying for
So
whatever
with
reason.
40 seconds left in the second round, Dennis needs a clear strike to the head, which will put it in an even score, or a thrust, which would earn him 2 points. Strike, exchange. So 1 point each, essentially a double hit. Exchange.
10 seconds.
It looked like a cut to the head by Voledkov.
Time.
2 points for blue, 1 point for red from that last exchange, putting Voledkov with a 1-point lead. That was the end of time. We have a winner.
And our first Russian to fight at Swordfish is the first Russian to win a tournament at Swordfish. Evgeny Voledkov of the White Company from Russia, the 2014 Saber champion for Swordfish.
That's really interesting, Matt. I hope we see a new wave of Russian fighters coming in.
It's interesting, Scott. I think we would have seen quite a few more. It just so happens that there's another big event that's scheduled for right now in St. Petersburg. And I know I've recently friended a number of these Russian HEMA fighters on Facebook, and I asked them if they were coming to Swordfish, and they said we would have if we hadn't already scheduled an event for the same time. So I think, especially given this showing by Evgeny, I can expect that next year you'll see a large Russian contingent showing up here, hungry for medals. All right, our sponsors now. We have Regenier Armory. Peter Regenier is a well-known smith, best known probably for making faders, but he also does a lot of custom work. The man's output is phenomenal. It's hard to imagine someone being able to put out so many swords. So Regenier swords from Hungary.
Congratulations. How do you feel?
Okay, it's great fight.
Can you tell us your name, which club and country you are from?
My name is Voledkov Evgeny. I'm from Russia. White Company Club. Ivanova.
Are you happy with your fight today? How do you feel to be the first Russians to come and compete in Swordfish and despite that bring home this great victory?
We are not the best Russian forces, not all the best Russian forces. Maybe you should see our great Russian company fences next time.
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
So you just heard from the Russians, Evgeny Voledkov and his coach, saying, you ain't seen nothing yet. These are not even the best of the Russians, according to them. I mentioned before that they have another event going on in St. Petersburg. Who knows what would have happened if the full contingent of Russians had come. I guess we'll see next time. So, Saber has passed us by. And now, next up will be ladies longsword. Third place fight, and then the first.
Hi Carl, you're a big profile in Nordic HEMA, running a big club, Örebro HEMA, and being a very successful instructor and longsword competitor. And you have also been involved in several other interesting projects in the last years, like the Swedish HEMA Federation. Can you tell us about the work that has gone into creating the Swedish Federation and why you created it?
I mean, we have a lot of pretty successful clubs in Sweden, and for at least the last 10 years we've had some kind of idea of formalizing our cooperation. So we started discussing founding a formal federation like 4 years ago, and that was done 3 years ago. So we founded a federation. We have now 5 clubs members and 118 individuals in the federation. I am the vice president, and what we've been working on lately has been a lot of things, mainly making HEMA more available for the Swedish clubs and for people to start training HEMA in Sweden. And the last thing we did was getting HEMA as an official sport in Sweden. So now all clubs can join the Swedish National Sport Federation and get funding from them. So that's basically what we've been doing the last year, and it's been a lot of work, but we hope that the clubs will have a great benefit from it.
Excellent, that sounds very rewarding. You've also been one of the initiators of a Nordic Historical Fencing League, which has attracted a lot of interest in the last year. What is the league and how did it come to be created?
Well, basically, I was down in Bergen and competing in their tournament, and we started discussing, me and the organizers of Bergen Open and Mattias Parmala of Helsinki, and we started discussing about broadening our cooperation. So we said, like, now let's start a league. Let's do a Nordic league to rank fighters across all of our 3 tournaments. So we started discussing that, and some point along the way we started talking to Axel Pedersen, and he recommended us to get in contact with a guy named Martin Kreuz-Holtman down in Copenhagen. So he joined the team, so the 4 of us, me, Mattias Parmala, Petter Brodin and Martin Kreuz-Holtman, we kind of started this league based on our 4 tournaments last year. And it was a great success according to us. We used at least basically the rule system that's been used here today at Swordfish, and tried it on our 4 tournaments. And it was a great way kind of to help each other with how to do things, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel for every tournament. So we basically helped each other out with the organizing, and the effect was great. So now we are looking into next year we will have a women's division in the league, and we will also have a team competition in the league. So those are the 2 news for next year. And the first tournament is Helsinki Open, the 31st of January.
That sounds very, very exciting. I am going to be very expectant. You've also been competing this weekend and in several other international tournaments in the last couple of years. What is it that drives you and motivates you to keep on doing HEMA?
Well, basically, I love this, and Swordfish is the best event of the year, but I just love to fence, and I love to go the big fights. Like today I lost to Axel Pedersen in the quarterfinals. I think we had 3 exchanges in all of 3 minutes, and it's such a great adrenaline boost just to really test your skill against another fencer. There's nothing like it in the world. So that's really my motivation, to get to those fights where you really can bring it all and really test yourself. I love that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Carl Rydberg. And now we go back towards the live stream again.
Thank you.
Carl Rydberg there on screen. Next up, we will have the finals for the Middleweight Wrestling Championship. So, to point out again, in wrestling, there's a 3 rounds fought for 2 minutes, or to 6 points. You can score by standing up with the opponent's upper body on the ground. That will reward you 3 points. 2 points are awarded for rises to a standing position from having the upper body on the ground with the opponent's upper body still on the ground. 1 point will be awarded for controlled holds to a grounded opponent for the duration of 10 seconds.
By which I am very pleased to see so many nationalities being represented at Swordfish. We move on to our next event, which will be middleweight wrestling.
The middleweight fighters. So as lightweight was a weight category up to 70 kilos, welterweight is between 70 and 77 kilos.
So this is Peter Smallridge of the UK, London.
Okay. Winner by withdrawal due to previous injury, red fighter Peter Smallridge.
The forfeit. Unfortunately, because of an injury of the French wrestler, unable to compete, forfeits the bout. The victory going to Peter Smallridge of the UK.
This year's wrestling tournament, the level of wrestling was about tenfold of what we had last year. A lot of new talent, a lot of talent in this tournament, resulting also in some injuries. There you see Nasri Amineh, graceful in defeat, injured leg, could not compete for the first place.
But from the same group as our other contestant, Thomas Lobo.
Our champion, Pete Smallridge, Welterweight Championship, Swordfish 2014.
Nasri Amin being cheered by the crowd as he exits the stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention, please.
Our next sponsor, Albion Sword, history in your hand. And if anyone has ever held one of the Albion swords, how true that is. These are based off the designs of Peter Jonsson, the famous Swedish swordsmith, and they really are a delight to hold. High-end swords, high-end sharps in particular, from Albion Swords.
So our hostess Julia Ström introducing the judges and referees for ladies longsword. So next finals to be fought will be for the 3rd and 4th place for ladies longsword.
Now let's remember the rules. These are the same as Saber. A cut to the head is worth 2 points. A thrust to the head or to the torso, 2 points. All other techniques are worth 1 point.
There is one difference between the Saber rules and the longsword rules, is that all one-handed strikes with the sword, no matter how it lands, is awarded 1 point unless the other hand is used in a grappling technique or a manipulating technique.
And just like in Saber, double hits and after blows are treated the same and are counted.
Fighting out of the red corner, all the way from the mountains of Norway, Margit Ryerson!
From Bergen, Norway, Margit Ryerson.
Fighting in the blue corner, one of our personal favorite imports, Julia.
Julia Lee Hooker.
I hope we pronounce your name right, Julia, from Göteborgs Historiska Fäktskola, Sweden. Both fighters had a tremendous performance in this year's Ladies Longsword. Look for in Julia a fighter that moves a lot, circulates. In Margit, look for her thrusts.
So this is nice to see these two newcomers getting to this level.
Fighters getting their gear on for the 3rd place in Ladies Longsword Swordfish Championships 2014, powered to you by Gothenburg Historical Fencing School and the Swedish HEMA Federation.
Margit advancing in Flug.
Look for Julia.
Julia. See a thrust and a wind.
Julia parrying the thrust, striking to the head, I believe, of
So 2 points for Julia.
Thrust, Parry. Also had a counter thrust. Also Vexel under the armpit by Julia Hooker, and a counter by Riesen. 2 points each, no score given. Essentially a double hit.
You're definitely right about the thrusts. Every time Margaret is coming in, she's usually lifting up into an ox thrust, left ox in particular. But Julia seems to be able to counter that most of the time.
One point each given. What Margaret needs to do is prepare her attack. She needs to set up the attack. She's going in straight with a thrust from Sufekten, and Julia is quite easily countering the thrust. Countering or doubling. Julia has a pattern. If you notice, she'll circle to the right. She moves a lot to the right, more.
Julia mainly fighting from Flug, left ox, and from Tag over the head. A thrust, a parry, cut underneath, a look to the torso. And 1 point for Julia Hooker.
Two points awarded for blue, 1 point for red. A strong lead for Julia Hooker, Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. 20 seconds left in the first round.
Margaret finally landed that thrust. It was interesting. I almost thought I saw a reversed grip on that thrust. An attempt at a thrust by Margaret, a cut underneath to the arms by Julia.
Time.
No score given in the lost exchange. That was the end of round one. Julia in a lead. Julia in picture with a lead of 5-1, I believe.
Margaret needs to change her game. She keeps doing the same thing. She approaches in Flug. She lifts up with a thrust and left ox. There's a bind. It looks to me like Julia has got her number.
Yeah.
She's waiting for that, and she's parrying it, and then she's immediately cutting underneath to the arms or to the torso. She's not getting a lot of points that way, but she's steadily racking them up as her opponent makes the same mistake again and again. It's funny, you know, one of the mistakes that fighters always do is the simple mistake of thinking that if they do the same thing just faster or better, that somehow it's going to change things. That's not the way the game works. You have to change up your game, change your tactics. If it doesn't work, you need to do something else. Margaret needs to learn that lesson. We'll see if she can do that in the second half of the fight.
We'll see how she approaches this second round after some discussion with her coach. Julia in blue only needs to be doing the same thing.
True. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Again, high parry in the ox. High parry by blue. Strike to the lower opening. No score giving in that lost exchange. Tangle.
Yeah, that one actually looked like it landed with the back edge to the head. It looked like it was a thrust that passed and then came down as a back edge cut in ox to the top of the head.
Thrust by red, strike to the top of the head by blue. Earning Julia 2 points.
So Margaret is
2 minutes
Looks
left.
like she may be changing her game. She switches to Fomtag on the shoulder. We'll see what she does with it. Yeah, unfortunately, even though she changed her guard, she went back to her
Hanging
old
position.
habit.
Back to the hanging position.
The same pattern, repeating.
Parry by Julia and strike to the lower opening. Awarding her 2 points with a strong lead. It's 8-3 with a bit more than 1 minute in the second round for third place, ladies longsword. Exchange. Scuffle.
Commanding lead by Julia now, 8-3. To 4.
Frederick Amann, Julia Hooker's coach, senior instructor of in Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. Bind, strike the arms by Julia. Time has been called.
Yes, that actually was a thrust, a bind, and a cut underneath by Margit to the arms. So 1 point, but too late to change the outcome.
Takes third place in the women's longsword championship.
And she really did it in the grand scheme of things by just keeping on doing what was working. Smart tactical choice.
Next up, women's longsword for first place. A champion will be crowned. It will be Elisa Keskinen, last year's champion, will fight Claudia Kraus of England. She's German,
yes,
but fighting out of England.
Claudia is German, but she lives in the UK, in London. And Elisa Keskinen, of course, is from Helsinki, Finland.
And this certainly is Claudia's second chance, because this is the same finalist we had last year, where Elisa Keskinen beat Claudia Kraus for the women's, for the ladies' championship in 2013.
So, a rematch.
Claudia's had a year to think it out and see what she brings to solve the problem that is Keskinen, a very technical, very competent fighter. Our drummer there, Claudia Kraus in the blue corner.
Claudia Kraus entering the ring. And Elisa Keskinen walking around to the other side. There's Elisa Keskinen of Helsinki, Finland.
With her coach, Matthias Parmala, at her side.
From the far northern Finnish reaches, we have Elisa Keskinen.
The champion defends her title. Keskinen, winner of 2013 Ladies Longsword.
Coming out of London, we have Claudia Krause.
And the challenger. Again. It'll be interesting to see what each one of them took away from their fight last year.
Claudia has a substantial reach. She's a tall fighter, and that's something she always brings to the table. She has long reach.
Right, and the interesting thing is they both have really good mentors. Matthias Parmala is a fantastic fighter. The crowd in Helsinki, a lot of good fighters there that Elisa regularly trains with. Likewise, Claudia is in London, fencing regularly with Pim Terminiello, who we've seen before. So both of these have a lot of good influences.
Claudia, an excellent coach herself. Strike.
Bind
To the
and
head.
a cut from the bind by Elisa Keskinen.
2 points to Keskinen. Strike to the head. Both fighters in Fomtag. Claudia.
Now, Keskinen is doing a good job of seizing the center of the ring early and achieving a dominating position. Keiji with her distance management, as she needs to be against someone with Claudia Kraus's reach.
Look how Keskinen moves between guards from Ox to Flug to Fomtag, down to Ox again. Smooth and fluid in her movements. Okay, both fighters.
Nice distance management. Cut underneath to the arms, it looks like, by Keskinen, but it looks like an afterblow landed perhaps by Claudia.
2 points awarded to Keskinen. So feel-out process here, footwork, testing each other's distance, but a quick exchange there, earning Claudia 1 point. Strike and a parry.
Cut, parry, riposte, counter parry.
Trying to figure out the distance there. Strike.
Yeah, Lisa needs to worry about getting in close because...
Strike. Break was called. I saw strike to the head by Keskinen.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. Elisa has to be very careful about going into the bind with Claudia because Claudia's arms are so much longer. When she lifts those arms up and reaches over with the back edge, it's going to be very difficult for Elisa to parry that.
Parry
Cut
with the
parry.
cron. Looked like a strike to the hands. Time has been called.
Yeah.
With Elisa Keskinen in a strong lead of
Yes,
7-1 in the first round.
Very impressed with the way Elisa's moving. She's looking notably better than last year. She looked good last year, but she's moving very fluidly. Nice control of distance. Has definitely established a position of dominance in this fight.
Not only in the footwork, but also between guards.
Yeah, it's true.
Constant fluidity.
Nice transitions. Tight, efficient, meaningful. Not just changing guards for the sake of changing guards. Cautious when going in. I guess that makes sense against somebody with so much greater reach. She's doing a good job of, as the shorter fighter, taking on a much taller opponent.
Claudia Kraus of Waterloo Sparring Group, England, in blue. Elisa Keskinen of
Helsinki.
EHMS of Helsinki, Finland, in red. Fight continues, second round.
Yeah, what I'm seeing a lot of is the bind. Claudia comes in for the bind, and Krumpau. There's a Krumpau parry. Did not appear to land though. That was nice to see by Elisa, and not something you see often, frankly. Somebody attempting a Krumpau from the left rather than the right.
Strike to the head by Keskinen, answered to the body by Kraus, who seems to be protesting. So what I think is happening is that Claudia's protesting the lost decision because it was a thrust to the body, but whether it landed as a cut, if it landed on the side, the tip missed and landed as a cut to the side, I think is what she protested, and the judges are making a second verdict.
It's very interesting to see this protest procedure being put into place. This is the first time that any such thing has been here at Swordfish, and I think it's interesting to see how the fighters are using it. Certainly, when you're fighting in the finals, there's nothing to lose.
It looks like it was overruled. I saw no change in the score.
Elisa and Longsword, parry, back edge.
Strike with the back edge to the head
neck
of Krause.
Head or neck, perhaps, hard to say.
Claudia answers with a strike. Was it to the shoulder or to the head? To the head, the judges call it. 2 points each. Essentially a double hit, no score, no points given.
Looks like that was a hit to the arm. Bind. Looks like a light blow.
Strike by Claudia. Counter to the wrist by Keskinen. Judges didn't see.
It was interesting, series of blows. The judges have the ability to disregard a blow if they believe it to be too light. I think that's probably what happened there. You saw a flurry of blows by Claudia's, but frankly there was no real power generation behind that.
Strike to the head by Keskinen. What the judges are looking for is the intention behind the blow. Throwing out swords that tap with no intention behind them, no force behind them. Judges have the discretion to disregard.
Right. There was a cut, a parry, a bind, and a cut looked to either the shoulder or the head of Kraus.
With half a minute left in the second round, Claudia needs to pull off a miracle to win this. She is not applying the pressure that she would need to do. To equalize the score.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Looks like interesting. Another Krumpau that landed.
Ended on a Krumpau.
And an afterblow. That was interesting. A Krumpau from the left.
Scored
by
2
Elisa
points.
Keskinen. Nice to see that.
2 points to 1. We have a champion, ladies and gentlemen. Elisa Keskinen from EHMS of Finland, Helsinki, defends her championship, defends her title as Ladies Longsword Champion of 2013 and 2014.
And better yet, the best thing of all is her final blow in that fight was a Krumpau from the left. Actually using historical technique.
The crowd greeting their champion.
This is always an interesting thing about the female fighters, is they really do seem a lot more inclined to actually apply technique than the male fighters.
To make this all a bit more interesting for you, I am intending to interview Elisa, both on the live stream and in real life.
So coming up, we have an interview with Keskinen, followed by an interview with Anders Lind of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School.
Okay, let's see how this goes, shall we? Are you ready for first ever double interview, both real life and live stream? Congratulations. Can you tell us your name and club and country of origin?
I'm Elisa Keskinen from HEMA, Finland, Helsinki.
Congratulations, this is quite a feat. Are you happy with your fight today?
Of course I am. This was awesome.
Is this the only weapon that you train?
Basically, yeah. I do some stuff, but not really train anything else at the moment.
How has your Swordfish experience been?
This is my favorite event for all. This is brilliant. I have been there 4 years now, and I'm coming back.
Excellent. This is the second time we've had this very same matchup in a final in Swordfish in the ladies' longsword. Were you nervous about this?
Yeah, kind of.
And how do you feel afterwards?
Well, it was fun fight. I love to fight with Claudia. It was really nice.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again on your gold medal in ladies' longsword.
Thank you.
So our next sponsor.
Next up, slamming it today with another double interview, both live stream and in real life. It's amazing. All right, hi Anders. How has your Swordfish been this year?
Swordfish is always great, but I think this year is some kind of record. Everything's been running so smoothly, and everyone's so happy, and the fighting has been fantastic from the pools and all the way through, I think. So I'm super happy.
Excellent, that sounds great. I understand you are famous both as an instructor and a competitor, but you have also written several articles about fencing. Lately they seem to have focused on identity and culture. What made you delve into those subjects?
Well, I mean, very few of us got into this because we wanted to get fit or even win competitions or whatever it was. I think it's more about the sword that had a calling to us. It's a very powerful symbol in our society, in our culture, and that has to do with identity and tradition. So I think that we should cherish that. It connects us to our ancestors and where we come from, and also I think it's part of a European culture in many ways. The fencing culture is our part of the fencing culture is European, of course, and that it has a place just like ballet or classical music or fine arts and so on. There's also fencing. So I think it has to do with identity. I think it's important.
Excellent, that was a very good answer. It seems that you think fencing can have a very valuable impact on everyday life and how to view life in your society. Is this so?
Yes, I believe so, and I'm not the only one. I mean, if you look back, the fencing masters describe the traits and how a fencer should be and what kind of qualities a fencer should have, and it has to do with courage and respectability and things like that. And that it impacts you even today. Those are not lost things. That's something that was important just in history. I think if you start to fence and you take it seriously, it will impact you in the way that you are and how you behave yourself and how you treat your fellow man or woman.
That was a very beautiful answer. And for my last question for you today, so where do you see us in 5 to 10 years regarding these subjects?
Well, I hope that it's something that it can unify us in HEMA, that we create a culture that is based in our heritage as fencers and then the fencing culture in general. So in 5 to 10 years, I hope that that's the case, that we've sort of come together within the fencing community around the fencing culture and the fencing identity in a way. So that's my hope, and I think that's going to happen.
Thank you, Anders Linden. That was a beautiful vision you had for us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anders Linden, ladies and gentlemen. Next up on the agenda, you see our screen, it's HDM. They are the deliverers of our software that has helped this tournament run so smoothly.
Marcus, I'm looking at you.
Our hostess, Julia Ström.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for Marcus to sit up straight is here.
Next up is our welterweight wrestling finals. Now, interesting difference from the other wrestling finals is that there will be a third and fourth place bout in this weight category. The reason being there's a deeper pool, a lot deeper pool.
And also gold and silver.
Welterweight will be fought at
Welterweight wrestling. At which point I am going to
up to 84 kilos.
the wrestlers and to their judge.
Okay, sorry, I made a mistake there. It's actually middleweight. This is the middleweight finals. The welterweight is the 77 kilo finals, which were the last ones we saw with the forfeit. And this is the middleweight finals, up to 84 kilos.
Introducing the contenders for the bronze medal in the welterweight wrestling at Swordfish 2014. In the red corner, we have Niklas Mordby.
Niklas Mordby of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, Sweden, fighting for third place.
In the blue corner, from the far northern reaches, we have Mr. Joeli Hakkala.
Joeli Takala from Finland. Niklas Mordby is the president of the Swedish HEMA Federation.
It's nice to see the president of the federation is not just a bureaucrat, but a fighter as well.
Indeed. Fighters in the clinch. Mordby the taller fighter. I believe Takala to be a heavier fighter. Working with the arms, trying to get the hooks in. Mordby attempting a throw, but Takala grabbing his back, pinning Mordby to the ground. Mordby able to resist, but Takala relentless in his attempt. Break was called. No point given, no score. There was no dominant position established. He needs 10 seconds to score 1 point, to pin his opponent to the ground. Back to clinch. Now they're using these heavy fabric jackets, like a gi, if you will, to pull, to tug. And to use in throws and sweeps.
It is an interesting question as to what we ought to be wearing in these matches. Historically, wrestlers did both. Sometimes they stripped down, depending on the tradition. Sometimes they used jackets.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to the first round. Wrestling will be fought for 3 2-minute rounds.
Time.
Time was called. I believe that's a draw for the first round. No score was given to either side. start of the second round. So there's no minute break between rounds. So first round a draw. Single. Tackler attempted a single leg takedown. They stepped out of bounds. The ref put them back in the middle. Tackler's got the leg of Mordby. And Mordby had Tackler in a choking position. So scramble. Mordby tried to get up, leaving his opponent on the ground, but didn't do so in time. No score given. Grounding an opponent and leaving your opponent on the ground whilst you're standing earns you 3 points. This is an even fight, a chess match. Will be attempting a hip throw. Trying to work it in. Tackler relentless. Trying to get the back of Mordby. But again, they cancel each other out. Very equal.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to the second round of 3.
Time.
Tackler tried to end the second round with a sweep with the foot, by hooking the foot behind the opponent's leg. No score given. So essentially, this third round will be a sudden death round. No score given yet. Tugging the opponent's jacket, leveraging the opponent by tugging the jacket.
Mikhail Wittgren.
Tackler grabs the throat of Michael, pinning him. He needs to do it for 10 seconds. 10. And Oi earns Tackler 1 point for a controlled hold of the opponent to the ground. 10 seconds. Very nicely done.
Michael Wittgren in the corner, coaching Nicholas Mordby.
Niklas adding pressure now. He knows he's 1 point below. He needs to do something if he wants to win this round, and essentially the whole fight. Tackler can now move back, rest in a defensive possession. He doesn't have to work for scoring. He pushes Mordby down for another pin. Mordby seems exhausted. He taps. Mordby taps, earning Tackler 1 point for controlled hold. Tackler 2 points to 0 in the last round for third place.
10 seconds.
10 seconds of the last round. Mordby needs to pull off a hip throw or ground his opponent. Time was called. We have a winner. Juuli Tackler from Finland.
Again, from Helsinki, they've got a good group of fighters there. Joeli Tackala, Matthias Parmala, Ilkka Hartikainen, Elisa Keskinen. It's quite a concentration of HEMA, not to mention Christian Rukonen and Anina Rukonen.
So that was for third place in the welterweight division to a weight of 84 kilos. Staffan Sannemalm, last year's winner of the heavyweight wrestling tournament, will not be able to defend his title this year. There were not enough fighters to create a heavyweight division, so Staffan will have to sit out this year and wait for somebody to.
Which is unfortunate. That really was a dramatic fight last year against Gregor Medvedek.
Our drummer calls in the contestants for first place. The welterweight tournament.
Brice Lopez of Acta from southern France,
who you earlier saw give our gladiator demonstration. If I understand it correctly, he's a former MMA practitioner before he founded Acta.
He is, but the other thing that's really interesting is that he practices the ancient style of classical wrestling that you saw in Greece and Rome. That's really one of his strong points, plus the classical style of boxing as well.
Vetteli of Finland. Vetteli. Ref instructing the fighters. Pace is a lot higher than the fight we just saw. Looking for openings. Brice grabbing the wrist of Vetteli. Trying to leverage him down to a lower position.
This is something you see from classical sources. Very interesting to see Brice doing something that you see a lot in ancient vases. I've seen this on classic black on red and red on black Greek pottery in a museum. Interesting to see this.
Single leg.
And he puts him out of bounds.
He puts him out of bounds. I think Brice didn't fully commit to that exchange in fear of throwing his opponent to a hard surface. I'm not sure if any score was given. What the ref called there. Time was called. Medic.
There seems to be a cut on Brice's forehead.
So the rubbing of the heads in this tight clinch position, when fighters rub their heads, I mean, it's an insane friction, and that's probably where it might be some old scar tissue. Let's open up on Fabrice and see what the doctor's saying. It doesn't look like it's anything serious. So from rubbing heads together. Matt, you said that you saw the grabbing of the wrist in ancient pottery. Have you seen that in medieval sources as well?
I know that there are certainly references to grabbing your textual references to wrestling techniques where you grab one of the opponent's hand with both of yours as a setup. I don't recall seeing it offhand in the images. That's not to say it's not there. But where that really strikes me is I've seen that so many times. It's so strikingly characteristic of the classical wrestling of Greece and Rome. And you know, if you go on Google Images and if you do a search for wrestling, you'll come up undoubtedly with pictures of that.
Just making sure that
Fascinating to see Fabrice Lopez putting his interpretations into
Brice Lopez
sorry,
putting research into action and scoring.
Fight resumes. Counter by Vettel trying to grab
right and
Brice wrists.
And here we are again.
Wrist control. So as he did before, from that wrist control, he's going to try and grab the leg of Vettel. It seems like a setup he uses. So from the wrist to the leg. Let's see if he does it again.
50 seconds.
50
10 seconds.
10 seconds left in the first round, I believe. Time was called. Interesting to see Fabrice there, Brice right there in the end. Vitali had him had a control over his wrist, and he actually lifted his foot and placed his foot on Vitali's hand, releasing the pressure, releasing Vitali's hand. That was an interesting technique. Grabbing of the collar. The beginning of round 2. No score given in that first round. See there, they're clinching their head. That's probably where Fabrice got the cut from. Probably old scar tissue that opened up. The doctor cleared it though, so he's fine to fight. Scramble! Two points called by the ref to Brice for rising to standing position. So fighting for that wrist control. It's become a game of wrists. Brice has got the leg of Vitali, but Vitali is actually counter-locked with his leg. And they come back up standing. That was an interesting exchange. Vitali locked Brice's hand in the back of his knee. Both fighters feeling each other, applying pressure, looking for an opening. And right here, they're feeling for an opening. They're trying to feel the momentum of the opponent.
That was quite a match. It's funny, I've seen many demonstrations by Brice Lopez. This is the first time I've actually seen him compete.
Third round.
And he's every bit as formidable as I thought he would be.
No score given in the first round. Brice winning the second round. Vitali needs to win this round to bring it to a sudden death. Very technical fight. Time was called.
We haven't had some blood as well on, I think.
Okay, so Brice called timeout. He saw blood. Probably it was blood from the earlier encounter.
It looks like there's some blood on the right side of Vitali's head. Although that may have been transferred from Brice. I think that was transferred from Brice in the clinch. perhaps. Oh, and a bloody nose.
And so seems to be the case. Fight continues. Early on in round 3. Reese. Both hands on the wrist of Vitelli.
He's got that double hand clinch again. Double hand grip on the wrist.
So this movement in the clinch, the moving of the heads against head, head against head, the tugging, they're feeling the momentum of the opponent. They're looking for weak spots in their movement. They're trying to lull the opponent into false safety and then explode into some technique, be it a hip throw or a takedown of some sort. But that's what's going on here. So they're feeling the momentum. They're looking for openings.
Seconds.
10 seconds. In the third round. Vitelli spinning around. Trying a sweep.
Time.
Time was called. Our winner, Bryce Lopez of Acta, France. And a very, very interesting
Very
fight.
interesting, I have to say. That's the most interesting wrestling match I've seen in a long, long time.
World finalist of Wrestling Welterweight 2014. This is Lopez from France.
Bryce Lopez, ladies and gentlemen.
With quite a fan club. Looks like we've got a pretty good French contingent here. Very excited to see their champion winning.
Bryce Lopez, welterweight champion of Swordfish 2014.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It is becoming that time of the year, that time of autumn, that
Our
time
hostess Julia Ström, you hear there in the background.
that time of the evening
Coming up now,
we have all been waiting for.
the grand finale, the open
Ladies
longsword.
and gentlemen, it is coming up to the open longsword. As per protocol, the first fight will be for the bronze medal of the Open Longsword Tournament of Swordfish 2014. Are you not excited?
So coming up, third place for Open Longsword 2014. Dennis Ljungqvist of Sweden will face off against Nathan Graparas. Dennis got knocked out by Axel Peterson. He was the 2012 champion. Dethroned last year's champion Hans Jarlin in the eliminations. Didn't make it all the way to the finals this year. Dennis is the only fighter to have won the Open Championships twice. Axel Peterson, who will later be fighting in the finals, has won it once and will contend for that same honor. Two-time champion of Swordfish. Dennis Ljungqvist in picture. Nathan Graparis. You can see the flag, the United States.
Nathan of Houston, Texas. Sword to sword.
Fighting for the bronze medal in the open longsword at Swordfish 2014. In the
You
red
see how
corner,
Dennis is in the zone.
we have
Look at his eyes.
Mr. Dennis
Focus.
Youngfist.
Somewhere else. Dennis
Dennis-
Ljungqvist of Kungshamns Historiska Fäktskola, Sweden.
Known affectionately to many of us as Dennis the Menace.
Fighting out of the blue corner, we have Mr.
One of
Nathan
the-
Graparis.
Nathan Graparis of Sword and Sword in blue from America, Texas. Dennis Ljungqvist, one of the most decorated longsword fighters in competitive HEMA, with medals in several disciplines over several countries.
Now there's a big height difference between these two guys. Dennis is a tall man. Nathan is short enough to have the nickname of the Hobbit. So what you'll see is that Nathan knows how to deal with this situation because he faces it a lot. Often you'll see what he does is he goes into a left ox. Expect to see, there he goes.
Dennis, strike to the arm by Dennis to the elbow. That is the weak spot there of the ox. Which,
Right, and this is a problem that Nathan is going to have. He goes up into that ox to protect his head, but there are weaknesses that come with any position.
Dennis likes to apply pressure. He likes to be the fighter that strikes first. He wants his opponent reacting to what he's doing.
Now Nathan has a very solid defense. What he does is he seems to like to let his opponent attack first, and he's got a very good parry riposte.
Graparis and Flug. Ljungqvist, now though.
Testing.
Up to Sornau. Sorry, Fomta.
Oh,
Parry, Dennis to the ground. Parry by Nathan. And a riposte. Parry riposte by Nathan Graparis. If he struck the leg or the side at least of Dennis Ljungqvist.
tight defense.
That first exchange made Nathan abandon his.
Yeah,
high
yeah,
ox.
it is interesting. But he
He's
still
been doing
goes,
it
he goes to it
consecutively.
reflexively.
He's been doing it consistently, and probably he knows that Dennis
Now this
will have
is
been thinking about that. Dennis, he knows
this is
that Dennis will have
interesting.
something for him.
normally,
Strike to the hand, it looked like.
yeah.
By Ljungqvist. 1 point to Ljungqvist, putting him in the lead. Dennis Ljungqvist, red. Nathan Graparis in blue. Geisler to the legs, missed.
And nice slip by Nathan.
A bit low in the parry.
Yeah,
Dennis strikes to the head.
went
Goes
through the
through.
parry.
Right through the parry.
And that after
little
blow
bit
was
too
not
slow.
in time and actually missed.
2 points for Dennis, putting him in a strong lead in the first round. 4 points to 1. Nice. Dennis
Nice
attempting to strike the
hanging
elbow
parry.
again, but Nathan, knowing that that would be coming, parries.
Very nice strong parry by
10
Graparis. Oh! And we have that
See,
Geisler-
a lot of
Geisler
guys,
by
guys
Ljungqvist.
throw Geislers to see what happens. Dennis Ljungqvist is probably the best Geisler fighter. No, he's not a Geisler fighter, but he knows how to utilize the Geisler the best. He looks up, he looks for a setup in the footwork, and he knows when to throw it and then take
Yes,
the parry.
in the past, around about the 2010 time period, he was one of the guys who used it the most. You'd see him throw that again and again and again. You can't do that with these rules. You have to be a lot more careful about it. So he's using it very judiciously, but he's using it very effectively.
That was the end of round 1. Round 2, Dennis with a lead of 5-1 against Nathan Rapier in blue. Parry, strike, parry. Looks like again, Dennis strikes to the head. Nathan just a bit too slow to parry that. To parry from the cron, goes through the parry, earning Dennis 2 points to 0. And a strong, strong lead now. Nathan trying to provoke a reaction from Dennis.
It's interesting to see as well, something Nathan does a lot is he runs into the middle of that ring to get a commanding position and give himself space.
Time has been called out. Assuming it's a protest. I'm not sure about what. Did you catch that, Matt?
No, I didn't.
So the coach of Nathan has used his right to protest. We're unclear on what it is. Judges convening.
Dennis with a very commanding lead at this point. But what's interesting today is we've seen a couple of times where Nathan has looked like he was going to lose the fight. The last 2 fights he fought, he looked like he was going to lose. I had the sense from watching it, but he managed to pull victory out of the jaws of defeat twice. He's got quite a challenge ahead of him, but it's not beyond Nathan's capabilities to pull that kind of thing off. We'll see what happens. Against a fighter like Dennis, though, that kind of lead is going to be pretty challenging.
With just over 2 minutes left, Nathan needs to score at least 7 points to bring it to a sudden death.
Yeah, this is one of these cases where Nathan probably needs to change his game. He has a tendency to be stuck in a right foot lead.
It seems that the protest was approved. The 1 score was taken from Dennis. But then I see 8 again, so I'm not sure how that protest was.
It looked like a thrust and an afterblow. And net 0 for the fighters.
Nathan taking the center. Strike by Ljungqvist. Finding the angle. Double hit, 1 point each. So no score given. Dennis striking for the elbow.
Nathan needs to change his game and be more aggressive. There you go.
Ah!
We have a one-handed thrust.
By Nathan. That only earns him 1 point.
Right.
Even if it is
Even
all
if it's
one-handed cuts or thrusts score only 1 point. Ah, nice exchange.
Nice exchange. Nathan has a very solid defense. Oh, beautiful thrust
by Dennis. Pushing Nathan off balance.
Knocking him off his feet.
Clean thrust. Earning Dennis 2 points to 0 there in that exchange. With a 12-2 lead with 20 seconds left in the last round.
Oh, nice hit by, nice parry and riposte by Raparis, and it looks like an afterblow by...
Nice smash out to the right side of Dennis' head by Nathan Raparis.
Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. Overall, a good performance.
And a chest bump.
A bit of entertainment by the gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. Dennis Ljungqvist of Kungshamns Historiska Fäktskola, Sweden. The veteran, Dennis Ljungqvist. He won the 2012 Open Championship, wasn't here to defend it last year, and almost made it to the finals. But he was taken out by this year's finalist championship challenger Axel Pedersen in the quarterfinals.
The moment has come. The time is here.
And now for the big event.
That we await. Marcos, put your t-shirt back on.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the grand event. The Open Longsword final, where Axel Pedersen will be facing off against Thomas Nissel.
Now, the interesting thing about Thomas Nissel is he is the king in the north.
The king in the north. He is the winner of the Nordic League. The Nordic League is a four-fight championship that spans over a year. It's a four-tournament championship held in Finland, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Thomas, he placed first in Finland and in Norway, second in Denmark, and third in Sweden. 4 consecutive tournaments, there he is, earning him the title King of the North. His opponent, the most decorated HEMA tournament fencer
of all time,
Axel Pedersen of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. There he is in picture. Axel has won several titles in several weight classes, in several weapon categories across
two
the
continents.
Atlantic, across 2 continents. The 2010 winner of the Open Longsword Championship. Axel Pedersen, ladies and gentlemen, of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, senior instructor. Winner of Houston 2007, it's 10, Bergen 2013, and Long Point 2014, among several other titles. His opponent, Thomas Nissel of Uppsala Historiska Fäktskola, the King of the North. Now, this is an interesting fight. The last time they fought was in 2012, in which Axel Pedersen had a dominant victory over Thomas Nissel. After that fight, something happened with Thomas. He changed as a fighter. It was one of those one of those milestone fights in where he opened a lot of doors. He came back to the tournament scene with a whole new repertoire of techniques.
It's funny, you see that happen. I think the same thing happened to Carl Rierberg, and again, it was from being defeated by Axel Pedersen.
Thomas utilizing Mayer-esque fencing with the provoker taker hitter.
Nice attempted thrust by Nissel, but Axel Pedersen's distance management. Oh,
thrust by Pedersen.
That looked like a double thrust.
Yeah, strike to the side by Nissel. It landed what seemed like in a thrust. But
yeah, it looked like it was a cut, but it landed with a point.
But the judges call it as a cut.
Right.
2 points to red, 1 point to blue. Pedersen in the lead with 1 point. Fomtach against Fomtach.
Going down to the low guards. Coming back up. Each one shifting guards to test his opponent. This is interesting. We're seeing this longer and longer testing period in the Swordfish. I've seen that throughout the elimination fights today. Not just these two.
And the in the Swordfish, the opponents are feeling each other out. They're testing each other's footwork. Parry by Pedersen and strike
to the low
opening. The same tactic he used in 2012 to beat Thomas Nissel and Carl Rierberg that same year.
Beautiful,
parry
beautiful.
Parry, strike low.
Riposte to the arm, parried the after blow. Classic technique.
Very nice by Pedersen. Okay, so
that's
the question
how it's
is
done, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you handle the after blow.
That is how you handle the after blow. Can Nissel break this pattern? Will we see this repeated throughout the fight? Or will Nicelle break this?
Oh!
Thrust by Peterson.
Looked like it missed.
Thrust turning out to a slice to the throat
I
by
think so.
Peterson. Did Nicelle have time? Was it a one tempo off the blow? Judges call it a slice to the
exactly. I think
to
the
the
judge
shoulder
right
by
exactly.
Peterson.
I think it was a thrust that turned into a slice on the shoulder.
Nicelle answered, but not within the tempo of one of the after blow, which is one tempo.
Nice Unterhau, parried by Peterson and riposte to the arm. Nice to see a left Unterhau. You don't see those so often.
Peterson in red, Nicelle in blue.
10 seconds.
10 seconds of the first round. Strike to the legs, parry. Time was called.
I think the time was called before he went out of bounds.
The ref is calling for judges. Thrust to the head, I think it was, by Nicelle on Peterson, earning him 2 points to 5 at the end of the first round. Forcing the head protection off the helmet, the back neck protection off the helmet of Peterson. Robert Moline, senior instructor of GHFS in Peterson's corner. And there he is, the King of the North, Thomas Nicelle. Now, Thomas Nicelle can generate a lot of power on a short motion, right? So he can generate the same power as a normal Sornhau and just flicking his wrists back and forth. He's probably one of the strongest fighters in Sweden.
His technique is also very good.
Thomas Nicelle doesn't strike people, he smites them.
It's nice to see that even despite that power generation, that's nice and that's important. But he also has nice, clean, precise technique. Just that Unterhau, yeah, he got parried, he got hit. Just the execution on that, beautiful.
We seem to have an equipment malfunction. That neck protection that went flying off Peterson's helmet in the last exchange seems to have broken his neck protection, so we're going to get that fixed before the second round.
So far, a very, very interesting action-filled match.
Peterson, the dominant fighter, but he's not safe. Nicelle is under 2-5 and can very well pull this off within the next round.
This is a healthy lead, but certainly not a commanding lead. This is something that Thomas Nicelle could easily come back from, and this is a guy who has the skills to do it. If anyone can do it, the King in the North can.
A round of applause for the fighters.
Axel Peterson won his first tournament in Dijon 2009, which was the beginning of a long career, long successful tournament career. Round 2, ladies and gentlemen. Peterson red and Nicelle in blue. Both fighters taking their time in the Zufechten, feeling the rhythm of the opponent.
And that looks clearly a double.
Seems Thomas Nicelle landed to the head of Peterson, which earned him 1 point, the superior strike out of that exchange. 3-5. They're looking for openings, feeling the momentum. Strike by Peterson. Parry, it seemed, but one of the judges called point. Judges couldn't agree, no exchange. So Peterson striking the blade of Nicelle to see how he reacts. He's looking for Nicelle's initial reaction. He's trying to... Peterson is setting up the attack.
Oh, nice feint and cut to the arm by Peterson.
Peterson, he's an expert at setting up the attack. He creates his own openings. He creates his own scenarios. And he doesn't have one game. His game will vary upon the opponent. He is the most adaptable fighter. There's not one Axel Peterson. Oh, thrust to the chest by Nicelle. How was it countered though? Did Peterson get the afterblow? Thrust to the chest by Peterson.
Thomas Nicelle slowly closing that gap. This could have an interesting outcome. But Axel Peterson has a way of rising to the challenge and upping his game.
Nice strike to the leg by Peterson.
Hanging parry followed by a one-handed blow. Look to the leg.
Setting up those attacks to the legs. He's creating a diversion. Nicelle goes to parry high. Peterson strikes low to the leg. Thrust again, same thrust as we saw before. The chest of Peterson by Nicelle. 2 points to blue, 10 seconds. Oh, Nicelle rushing in, causing the time. Ladies and gentlemen, time has been called. There is discussion in the corner of Peterson. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our longsword champion, Axel Peterson, winner of the 2014 championships, Swordfish.
This is his second time.
Peterson, together with Dennis Ljungqvist, are the only two men to win this coveted title twice. The crowd and scream in an excellent display of fencing. Thomas Nicelle rising to the occasion.
He almost pulled it off. He did a fantastic job. That is the way, if you're behind, that is the way you take the fight to your opponent. And what he did was use the point, go for those high value targets, and frankly threw caution to the wind. That's what you have to do when you're running out of time.
Thomas Nicelle, one thrust away. There he is. Axel Peterson is champion again.
Congratulations. I think we all know your name and where you come from, but please, sir, do repeat. What is your name and your club and country of origin?
Thank you. My name is Axel Pettersson. I'm from Göteborgs Historiska Fäktskola in Gothenburg, Sweden.
Are you happy with your fight today?
Well, I'm very happy with the result. I think Thomas did a fantastic fight. And maybe I should have not been so passive because he almost had me at the end. But this is... no, I can't describe in words how much this means for me. Thank you.
I can see from your face there's a lot of emotion going on, and a lot of it's happiness. Is this the only weapon that you train?
No, I've also started training in Saber as well, and some wrestling whenever Mikael has time for me.
What are your main historical sources that you base your training on?
My main sources is Sigmund Ringek, that we do in Gothenburg, and by myself I also study a lot of Joachim Meyer.
How has your Swordfish experience been?
It's been action-packed. I've done a lot of fighting and also, of course, helped with the events, but it's just, there's no way to describe it. The whole community, all of them, people around me are my friends, all of the people watching, And I have family in Sweden and I have relatives in the United States watching, so it's nice beyond words.
So, one last question for you. How does it feel to be on top of Swordfish?
It feels great for 364 more days, I suppose, before Thomas comes back and knocks me down.
Thank you very, very much, Axel. Congratulations once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, our humble winner, Axel Petersen, the champion. An emotional champion. Petersen has, for the past 2 years, battled with injury. And I think this victory at Swordfish was the culmination of hard work and
it's true. I mean, in discussions with him, you can tell the frustration from the injuries that he's had to deal with, and this is a big thing for him to win here once again.
There is no tournament in the world that is so stacked as this tournament. It was clear this year. Anyone in the top 32 could have won this year.
Just watching the eliminations fight was frustrating because there were different fights going on. You wanted to watch both of them because you wanted to watch all the fights at the same time because so many good fighters were here, so many names that you recognize, so many people you want to watch. You didn't know which ring to go to.
Tight fights, close victories. You see the backs of our administrative staff, our refs, our judges, timekeepers, and miscellaneous crew.
I want the arm binders as well. All of you running after sweaty, smelly fighters, binding a little bit of fabric. I want you all,
and we're seeing now, Matt, a phenomenon.
The number of people standing on my side.
Our host, Julia Ström. The crowd applauding all the big team that has made our tournament possible. The judges, the staff, timekeepers, the HGM crew who's provided the software, the tournament administrator.
I want you to see how many of these people have competed as well. They have sacrificed sleep. They have sacrificed food. They have sacrificed going to the bathroom. Because I've been pushing them around. They've done this for each other, for you, for all of us. I want to direct special thanks to Rob Runnicus.
Rob Ronicus and T-School, together with Julia Ström, with the tournament managers. Please stay with us for our prize ceremony. We'll be starting shortly.
Who have kept our screens going, thank you. And Anna. On my personal behalf, yes, I took my shoes off, shush Rob. I want to direct my utmost thank you to every single one of you who made this possible. Without you, there would be no Swordfish. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very entertaining Julia Ström, hostess and tournament manager here at Swordfish.
Julia is one of those people who has made Swordfish work over the years, and in particular the tournaments. She is a hard taskmaster. She is the disciplinarian for the judges and for the crown fighters. But she's the one of those key personnel who makes things happen. Keeps discipline, keeps organization in the tournament, and if you've ever run a tournament, you'll know that is no mean feat.
Lovely, lovely fabulous medalists, I want you in the hallway. If you have won a gold or silver or bronze medal, get your butt in the hallway, or you're not
So-
going to get the glory. And
You're
you want
seeing
the glory,
now
don't
a
you?
phenomena in longsword where fighters who are new to the game are very rapidly rising very fast. So to every tournament you come to now, there are new names, and they are top-level fighters, and you have no idea where they came from, because the catch-up effect is really booming. You see it most clearly in the longsword, more than Rapier and more than in Saber.
Well, but the other thing I think you're seeing is a coaching effect. I mean, you've got a generation of fighters. You've got your Robert Molines, you've got your Carl Rearberg, you've got a whole, Thomas Neisel, you've got a whole host of people, and these people are all starting to have their proteges, and their proteges are the ones who are starting to show up at these tournaments, and they're starting to make it into the eliminations. They're not making it through yet to the finals, but there were a lot of new people in the elimination phase, people who weren't there before. That's a good sign for HEMA.
As well, today there will be awards given to the most technical fighter in each category. The technical award is given not to the winners, necessarily the most technical, to the most successful fighters, but to the fighters that have displayed a wide range of techniques that celebrates the art.
And an example would be the sort of thing that Elisa Keskinen did with her final blow, which was to throw a crump out that landed.
Are you ready to bask in some glory? Just waiting for the glory. I know I'm pretty fabulous too, but I get no medals for that.
It's interesting to see how the composition of the fighters and the audience changes over time. I have the sense that we have a very large French contingent here this year. We have the Russians who are new, but we're not seeing the Poles so much as we have.
Found your bottles as well. Very good. All right. Bring in, starting with wrestling.
Our drummer, club president at GHFS and instructor at GHFS, leads the wrestlers into the prize ceremony to, as Julia put it, bask in glory.
Placing first in the wrestling lightweight at Swordfish 2014, we have Middleweight from GHFS Sweden.
Our lightweight champion, ladies and gentlemen, retains his title, Michael Wigren from Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. A wonderful wrestler and a very competent saber fencer. Probably one of the top saber fencers in Sweden. MMA practitioner, excellent ref, senior instructor of saber.
Placing first in the middleweight wrestling at Swordfish 2014, Mr. Peter Smallridge from the UK.
Peter Smallbridge, ladies and gentlemen. He is also, I believe, together with Michael Wigren, the two men have orchestrated the rule set for this year's tournament.
And having had such a massive pool of fighters for the welterweight wrestling, we're going to be presenting first, second, and third places. Starting with third place. I think you've seen him before.
Tackle after an excellent performance earns third place, winning over Niklas Mordby of Sweden. Tackle from Finland.
Funny enough, second place, also coming out from the northern reaches of Finland, from Grisart, we have Mr. Vetteli.
Mr. Vetteli, after a very impressive performance, using Bryce's tactics against him. Bryce came out with a very unusual technique of hanging on to the wrist, which Vetteli countered by himself.
Yeah, he turned right around and used it against him. That's a sign of a good fighter. They'll take your technique that you just scored against them and use it right against you.
Mr. Lopez.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new favorite and champion, it seems. Brice Lopez, Acta, France. In a very, very interesting and entertaining performance today, both in his gladiatorial display and in his wrestling display. Loved among his countrymen and internationally as well.
Thank you, gentlemen. Please note that all medalists are to stay put by the edge of the mat. Moving on to medalists in Rapier and Dagger of Swordfish 2014.
Ladies and gentlemen, enter the Rapier finalists and
Placing third.
Saber
You've
finalists.
seen him, you've heard him, you've smelt him. Coming out of the UK, from the Renaissance Soul Club, Mr. Rob Ronicus.
Rob Ronicus of the United Kingdom, having fun with our good friend and colleague Julia Ström, who together managed this tournament. Excellent performance by Rob Ronicus in
Placing second, coming out of Sweden, from Gamla Stans Fäktskola. We've all been wondering, why isn't he in the home yet? Mr. Hans Jörling.
Hans Jörling of Gamla Stans Fäktskola. Last year's Longsword champion, this year's second prize, second in the Rapier Championship.
And placing first, taking gold, fighting out of the UK, School of the Sword, we have the fabulous Mr. Yamato Pintaniello.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pierre-Marco Terminiello, Rapier champion of 2014, who in the eliminations dethroned 2012 and 2013 years champion Francesco Loda in a very, very close, fantastic fight. It's starting to get unusual not to see Loda on the prize play. It was a very close fight, and I hope to see Loda next year come back to reclaim his title.
You know, they get a taste of it and then they won't leave. It's like dogs, don't feed them. No, just don't. All right. Moving on to the medalists of Saber at Swordfish 2014. Placing third. This one you've definitely heard, and you've definitely seen him. It's hard not to. Coming out of Holland, fighting for Armek, Mr. T. Cool.
Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool from Armek in the Netherlands.
well-known fighter, senior
instructor at
HEMA, and also host at the International Lowlands Gathering.
ILHG.
Lovely Kungshamns Historikerfestskola. We have Mr. Dennis Ljungqvist.
Dennis Ljungqvist, ladies and gentlemen, of Sweden. Who probably needs to buy an extra house to keep all his medals in.
And the Saber at Swordfish 2014, coming from the vast reaches of Russia, out of the White Company, Mr.
Vledkov from Russia, new to the scene in Sweden at least. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. Has Vledkov opened a doorway? Will we see more Russians follow the next year, or hopefully so?
That's what I predict. I predict what will happen is the same thing that happened when Jan Hodkiewicz came and did so well. A flood of Poles followed him. I expect you'll see the same thing with the Russians.
A round of applause for the Saber medalists.
The White Company from Russia, ladies and gentlemen. Volodkov. Correct me if I'm wrong on the name.
Vledkov.
Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to the Longsword ladies medalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, our ladies longsword finalists.
Placing third. Coming out of Sweden, our favorite import here at GHFS, we have Miss Julia Ylihukka.
Julia Ylihukka of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. An excellent performance this year. In a tough tournament, and to command her footwork throughout her tournament experience, throughout her performance in this tournament.
Placing second. Fighting out of the UK from the Waterloo Sparring Group, we have the wonderfully cheerful Claudia Krause.
So Claudia again taking second place at Swordfish. It'll be interesting to see if we have this matchup again a third time next year.
Taking gold in the women's longsword at Swordfish 2014, fighting out of Finland, EHMS, we have the frosty beast from the northern east, Elisa Kiskinen!
Elisa Kiskinen of Helsinki, Finland.
Retains her title, the winner of 2013 and 2014 championships in the ladies longsword. She's the only fighter except Christine Nodge, together with Christine Nodge, to win the ladies longsword twice.
Thank you, ladies. Congratulations.
Yeah, that would be a dream matchup to see. A fight between Christina Nodge and Elisa Kiskinen.
Absolutely.
Christina, hopefully you're listening to this.
Of Swordfish 2014.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Open Longsword winners. And the Open Longsword is the most prestigious. The pools are the biggest. The talent is the highest.
The fights are the fiercest.
Competition is the toughest.
Placing third, I know you've seen him once
Iron Fist, who already placed in Saber, comes in third place. Dennis, the 2012 champion, dethroned Hans Jarland in the eliminations, who was the 2013 champion, and then in his turn dethroned by Axel Petersen, who was the 2010 champion.
Sweden, Uppsala Historiska Fäktskola, Mr. Thomas Nichel.
The King of the North, Thomas Nichel, can hold his head proud in an excellent performance.
He can. He very nearly pulled victory from the jaws of defeat. So close, came so close to defeating Axel Petersen.
Senior instructor at Uppsala Historical Fencing School.
And ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the gold medalist of the Open Longsword of Swordfish 2014, fighting out of Sweden, Göteborgs Historiska Fäktskola, Mr. Axel Pettersson.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champion, Axel Petersen. If you'd have to say there is one person who's the best fighter in the world, if you had to name somebody, it would have to be Axel Petersen.
There is no doubt. The best fighter in modern HEMA, for sure.
And with victory comes the prize.
And the humble
the
man
boon,
as well.
The ultimate boon. Humble in victory, you're right.
That is one of the things that I really cherish about Axel Petersen, is he is a humble man above all else.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have one last group of awards. It is a technical awards. These awards are based on a fighter's technical skills, the way they perform the art, the fencing, in the respective weapon, and in the case of wrestling, the use of their techniques. These prize figures have been thoroughly discussed. It has been going on from the first Waterloo sparring group.
So, to update you back home, there is one last prize in each category, in each weapon category, and it's a technical award, which is given to the fighters who have displayed the widest, most...
The best display of technical fencing, not necessarily based on whether you win or lose, but in terms of the things you attempt, as well as the things you carry out, and also the overall quality of your fencing.
From each weapon group. We will start with wrestling. In wrestling, the award for best technical fighter goes to Amin Nasri.
Amin Nasri, who had to forfeit in the final because of injury, had to forfeit. You see his limp. He actually waited to the very last hour before forfeiting, hoping
to overcome his injury.
So we didn't get to see him to fight tonight, but a warrior spirit displayed in his performance throughout the tournament.
Congratulations, Amin.
Presented as a diploma. Sorry, not a diploma, an award. A certificate. Well, an award.
Moving on to Rapier and Dagger. This year's technical award in Rapier and Dagger goes to Christine Konsmo.
Christine Kolfer, who we saw reffing right now in the finals, receives a technical award for Rapier performance.
Yeah, for Rapier and Dagger, it's kind of nice to see. She's fantastic with a sword and buckler. She's recently expanded into Rapier and Dagger as well. She does quite well with the double weapon combination.
Smooth in her footwork and her passages between guards and strikes.
Swordfish 2014 Technical Award in Saber goes to Kristoffer Stansson.
Kristoffer Svensson from Stockholm Stigman. They're a group that train Saber. They're Saber-only group from Stockholm.
The technical award in Saber.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kristoffer!
And they represent the very top of Swedish saber fencing.
This year's Technical Award in Ladies Longsword goes to Margit Reersen.
Margit Eriksen of Norway, ladies and gentlemen, technical award. It was a close call between Margit and our winner Keskinen. We didn't get to see Margit fight. Oh, she fought for fourth place, sorry.
Congratulations, Margit!
See her there in her civilian clothes,
And
so to say.
Swordfish 2014 Open Longsword Technical Fighter Award goes to Jesper Christiansen.
Jesper Christiansen från Örebros Historiska Fäktskola, protege and student of Carl Ryberg. He's trained for some years, but his performance in the last 12 months, last year, in the Nordic League, in the Örebro Open Championship, his rise is phenomenal. His technique is smooth, persistent, beautiful. Everything he does is with confidence and perfect motion. Well-deserved award.
Conning's favorite events, at least. I would like to all to prepare yourself. Not like that. For a big round of applause for the winners and medalists of Swordfish 2014.
Wait for it, ladies and gentlemen.
Here it comes. Some technical malfunctions with the confetti machines.
How many GHFS men do you need to get a stick off? I just hate it when it doesn't go off in your hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for the grand finale, our proud confetti explosion. We couldn't afford 1,000 dubs.
Massive applause for our lovely medalists and technical fighters. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Swordfish Finals for 2014.
Right, so thank you and good night.
Good night.